love printing. I love printing. I love it. I f***ing love printing. Hey everybody, I want to welcome you back to another edition of Printer to Printer on What They Think with me, Warren Werbitt, also known as the Print Whisperer. That will tell you more about at a later date, but just keep noticing it. Today, we are sitting with someone who I just met through the pandemic on a whole bunch of chat room calls and all that other stuff, and LinkedIn and posting and Dave Rosendahl, Mind Fire's list. And without further ado, we have Andrew Ettinger from the bestpostcard.com company. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing good. Warren, thanks for having me on here. It's obviously, I love to be able to talk. I mean, I never stop talking.
You're from New York. You have to love to talk.
Yeah, I'm a New Yorker, and now I'm in the suburbs of Connecticut, and soon to move from here, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, so just before we get into whatever our conversation is going to be, which I don't know yet, because of course, here are my prepared questions. Why don't you give us just a little lowdown and a little pitch on what your company does?
Okay, so we're a national wholesale company. We have some strategic relationships with some franchise groups and associations, but that's not really what gets us excited. We deal a lot with the blue collar guy, the guy who's in the field, the home improvement guy, the home service person, the windows and the doors, and the people who kind of get now that like the whole market's changed, Warren. Like it's like our predecessors never got any, I used to make fun of the big companies like Connecticut-based systems, like for spending $1 million on TV. And I'm like, you're not going to get any return. You're not, and now I'm talking to people and saying, listen, the only way that you're going to differentiate yourself is by finding a niche, because you can't attack a guy that spends 20 grand on Facebook. You can't attack a guy that spends 20 grand on pay-per-click and be one of 17 people. But just like you, I'm so passionate about what I do. I'm like, own the mailbox, own the home, and you're all alone, so you're going where your competitors aren't, and, it's a story I learned when the pandemic hit, we got crushed. I mean, we shouldn't be in business. But I read a Harvard business article, and it's like, okay, you got your choices. You can hide or you can get aggressive, and that's where new market leaders come from. You can micromanage, or you can empower, and knowing that, the people who work with us, we're family, are representatives of us, and I want them to be empowered. And the third was kind of finding that niche marketing. And it's, you don't attack McDonald's on television, go where your competitors aren't. And, that was huge.
So let me ask you, and you're pretty open with everything you say, which is pretty cool. I kind of feel the same way, because I'll tell anybody anything. It's one thing to tell them, it's another for them to actually pick up, go and copy and do, which most don't. So that's why I'm not afraid to talk. But what would be one of the single-handedest, I can't even speak today, but what would be one of the single-handedly best ideas that you came up with and implemented in the pandemic, beginning, middle, end? I don't know anymore what's what. I don't know if we're still in the pandemic, but that's a whole other conversation. So
I think, the real thing is just like we want our clients to understand the value of our products, we need to understand the value of who we are and what we're offering and why we're different than, all of our competitors. So and with my team, because I can't do anything without my team, we decided that we were not going to be direct mail vendors. Like, someone could not call up and buy 50,000 pieces from us and give us the artwork and, get a wholesale rate, because I don't want to
do not do that.
No, I don't want to hear any of their bitching when their offer was free shipping, or it's cluttered, or they're trying to be the jack of all trades. Like we've been doing this for 20 years. My partner and I, we both worked for shared mailer companies, and we walked up and down the streets, and we dealt with every company 500 times over. So we met all the jackasses who had these great businesses and we're running them into the dirt. And you know how like you drive by like a little strip mall and you see like this Hamden Sovac or something, and you're like, how the does this place make money? And then you go and you talk to the owner and you say, wow, this guy can make money doing anything he wants. And we realize that if we don't show value, otherwise it's just a price sensitive, we're a commodity, and we wanted to remove ourselves from being a commodity. So we're a marketing consulting company, and we have a model.
So how do you go in, and how do you talk to the client, or what do you say to the client to be different that makes them want to go with you?
Well, I'm, like I said, so no one's calling me up in order. I mean, they might try, but I'm going to tell them, as crash as this might sound, is I want to own the conversation from the beginning. I want to not train the client, but I want them to understand what our MO is and what we're trying to get out of this. And so if someone calls me, and we don't do any smiling and dialing. We don't do any outbound stuff. All of our stuff is inbound.
Just interruption. Are you getting your clients because you're doing mailings?
No, I mean, like what I did is, part of the secret sauce, but it's hard to get into now. But when the pandemic hit and I said okay, so what are we going to do here? I took that aggressive approach, and I found 7 industries that I like, and I found the Bible of that industry, whether it be, contract to business. By the way,
I'm not going to ask you the industries, so we'll keep that secret.
Because you know what? Anybody else can try and get in, but I have my niche,
right.
And I don't think anybody can touch us. I really believe that. And I believe the consulting part of it, because we know so much more. Most of the times we know more than the business owner, and the business owner is coming to us for advice. And we've created an ecosystem with producers in those industries that do 30, 50, $100 million. And we allow our clients, we not only allow, we encourage it. We have a marketing meeting, marketing genius meeting once a month, where we get our clients all on one big Zoom. And since we give exclusivity, our clients are able to talk and get advice that they would never get anywhere else. So
it's like a peer group for your clients.
Listen, I believe in what I sell. I don't believe I tried doing pay-per-click, to get clients, and I had these idiots calling me about how much are 200 pieces, and are you a postal, are you a USPS, and are you just so much unqualified. And I never wanted to be a call center. I don't want to have 20 people sitting there. I know you take a company like MailSharp, nothing against them. They have a great model.
It's not your thing.
I don't want to send out 100 menus a week for 52 weeks, you know what I'm saying? And be a call center. I wanted qualified leads. I wanted to know that when someone called me, they knew exactly what we were, who we were, how we operated, what we offered, what our pricing was, because nobody in the industry illustrates their pricing. So it's, you got a call, there's this, there's that, there's this, there's that. We laid it all out there in the line. And so I found the Bible to each industry that I wanted to be in, and I paid to have that magazine that goes to, qualified remodeler, where the diamond level, what that is, QR. The Live 500. There's a show in November 2nd where the diamond level sponsor, they go to 89,000 home improvement contractors each month. And our motto is frequency over reach, you know, so I'll always tell somebody I'd rather see me out of 10,000 people 6 times and 50,000 people 1 time, because it's
well,
it's
do
all
better
about,
on the 10 times, right, than the 1 time.
yeah, of course. I mean, listen, what is anybody doing today to brand themselves? You know, I went into, you know, I don't want to say the name of the group, but I went to a group, and you know, I don't do these humongous shows. I don't believe in being like in a corner. You know, either I'm going to sponsor the show and I'm going to get on the phone, I'm going to get up there and I'm going to talk, and you know, and sponsor the damn thing, or I don't want anything to do with it. But so we got the magazines, and we negotiated with them, and we said, listen, I'll pay to have your magazine polybagged. Now I'll provide you with a 8.5 by 11 9-point, you know, double-sided outsert, and I'm actually the cover of your magazine, you know, like, you know, so I don't believe in, just like I don't believe in pay-per-click. I don't believe in 17 people being in the same fishing pond, going after the same lead that's getting crappier and crappier and costing you more and more, you know.
I will fish anywhere if there's more than 2 people in the same spot, and they got to be
yeah,
in my boat.
Yeah, totally agreed. Totally agreed. And then, you know, like, they get around it by LSA, and, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, if you Google, you've heard some of my things, if you Google digital experts on LinkedIn, not Google, if you put in digital experts, 10,600,000, you know, we have thousands of clients, and if we wanted to, we could sell Facebook and, you know, get someone in-house, and we could completely blow it up with it. But we'd rather be great at what we do than with shit that we're not good at, or take shit and lose a good client because it's out of my wheel. I'm a dynamic.
What's the average size of the order that your customers are giving you?
For the HVAC industry, I bought the cover of the ACHR News, I bought Contractor Business, and I bought Contractor Plumbing. So I ended up spending $1.5 million in the middle of the pandemic. But what I did is we came up with a model. You know, first of all, we were going to differentiate ourselves. We're going to, you know, and we were going to educate. And so we're very data and analytical oriented. So, you know, the first thing I would do is I'd be like, you know, if we were to role play, like, so Warren, what did you do in revenue last year?
8 million.
8 million. And
hang on, let me use 10. 10 is always an easier
10
number.
Million. Fair to say that you put 8 to 10% of your revenue back into advertising?
Should have, but didn't.
Okay, that's right there. If the person's willing to understand that that's what they're supposed to do to grow their business, then, because we're going to ultimately be partners, you know, like, because I'm going to give you exclusivity. So I'm going to be stuck in bed with you. So if you're going to be spending 3%, and that 3% is going to be divided amongst, 14 mediums, I'm never going to be able to move the needle for you. Right. So basically, it's almost like a questionnaire. It's like, are you willing to spend 8 to 10% of your revenue on advertising, just in general? And then out of that advertising, are you willing to give me 6 months where you give me 25% of that budget? You know, like prorated, you know, like it's only 6 months, so I get half of it, you know, where you trust me and you follow my model. And the model can work for any size business. Doesn't matter if it's 100,000 or a million, you know, or it's 2 million, but we want to brand, we want to acquire, we want to engage, and we want to retain. So how do we do that? You know, we ask you for your last 2 years, Warren. You know, first of all, I want to make sure, like, you know, I don't have a contract with you, Warren, and you can quit at any time. But before we get into this, before we talk about this, like, you know, these are my feelings on what's going on. This is what I think of what you're doing, but understand that the behemoths of old, you know, like even the Renewal by Andersons and stuff like that, you know, they mail to you every single month. Like, you know, so I want you to understand what branding does for you. What branding does for you is it means that after you getting this piece for 6 months straight, that you know, like if you're a plumber and nobody's calling you unless it's a grudge purchase, you know, like they literally call you when the shit hits the fan, you know what I'm saying? So they don't have a card in front of them.
You ever do a mailer with a postcard with like the plumber's crack on the back just to get a good laugh?
Got it all. I mean, we offer a couple different solutions, and you know, everything's customizable, but we make suggestions, you know, based on our marketing meeting groups. But
sorry, so I want to tell you, I'm really liking the approach of sitting down and the questions. I used to ask my reps to do something at the beginning or end of every year, and let's go sit with every client and have the yearly conversation. Or when we meet a new client, what do you do? Where do you spend? What's your budget? And you're asking hard questions. And I always felt that your best customers are the ones that truly answer you.
Yeah, well, the thing is, if they don't
cards,
if they're not going to be a part of the process, right? Then I'm an order taker.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you want an order taker,
yeah, I love it.
A million of them out there. You know, I'm not asking you because I'm a busybody. I'm asking you because I'm going to make a difference in your business, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to make a difference in your business. But I want to know, Warren, like, will you give? There's no contract, but for 6 months, can we set aside a budget that you can act as if it's spent already, and you can let me prove it out to you? And then your next question is going to be like, well, how are you going to prove it out to me? And I'm going to give you the example. Like I've been getting a postcard for 6 months, and my steward just blew up, and I didn't have a card, and I ran over and I went to Google and I typed in the name of your company. I typed in, you know, the Print Whisperer, right? And some asshole is saying that's a digital lead. Now, when somebody types in the Print Whisperer in a Google box, that's not a digital lead that was sent. That was from an outside source, whether they saw your truck, your billboard, your yard sign, your direct mail piece, your television, or your radio. You know, I know people who do radio ads and they just say, Griffin HVAC, Griffin HVAC, right. Griffin HVAC, Griffin HVAC, because nobody's writing down your phone number and nobody's writing down your website. So when they go home and they type in Griffin, now that's what, you know, that's going to be called the digital
anything
lead.
From the gas station to the local whatever.
Yeah. And listen, I also don't need to take credit for everything. I just want to show that our piece had some sort of attribution, you know, towards the whole layer, you know, it's hard because you're going up against agencies, and most of these agencies that came around are usually they either left a television station or a radio station. They took the best 3 clients and they capitalized, they double dipped. They took the 15% off the client. They took the 15% from the radio station.
I'm of the school today where, you know, yes, middle people are okay in some cases, but for the most part, people need to go, I believe, direct if you want to get the most out of the most, because when, you know, target with the middle guy, and I'm not knocking him because I do some middling stuff myself. But as a customer, if you find the source like yourself and you're getting it direct and the interaction is direct, right? So the results are direct.
You don't know what you don't know. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing that we can do about that. But at the end of the day, like right now in this marketplace, the way it is, the way that, listen, radio and television is still a great way to reach the masses for a cheap price. But let's face it, it's nowhere near the mechanism that it was 20 years ago where,
you know what, I'm in the car, the radio is for traffic, otherwise I'm listening to the Dead on Sirius,
right? Or I'm watching my
Tom Petty or whatever
for the 8,000th time, and I still haven't, you know, I've seen it 8,000 times, I still couldn't rename one word, you know, of it. But you know, I don't see TV, and nothing like that, you know. So all these agencies are now, unfortunately, television and radio, you can just buy it as remnants at the last second, you know. And so these agencies will sell it to you a month ahead of time at full rate. They just wait till the last second, unless it's Super Bowl or something. They buy it for remnants. They're making 50-60%, you know, which is not transparent to the client. As far as digital is concerned, I mean, you know, there's so many ways to show it to a client to try and justify its value. but they're only showing it to you in the way that it looks good for them, but because it just doesn't look good anymore. But you know, you have no idea who's coming to your website, who's visiting it, you know, who can guarantee that there's going to be 1 million impressions, you know, and like that people are going to come on. But
I've learned there's no guarantee with anything, right?
No, except with direct mail, you know, I mean, and there's still bad actors out there, but you know, if
the only thing guaranteed is you know how many people you're going to reach, but nobody can guarantee how many people are going to reach back.
Or nobody, to be honest with you, nobody, like I know a lot of direct mail vendors who put out 75% of the mail.
Right.
You know, because listen, we're graphic designers, we're direct mail. People ask us for 3602s and 8165s, and we send them to them. Half of them don't know how to read them. And if we wanted to change a number, we could change a number. Now, the only way they could really go is they could go to the post office, which they have the right to as the end user, and they can verify it. But usually just sending the paperwork would get them away from it. But they're you know, you spend $1 million as an ad tech company as an agency, and they're giving you $350,000 kickback. You know, it's just the way it works. But they're not, the agency's not telling the client, hey, by the way, we're getting 350,000. We're charging you 15%. We're getting a 350. You know, there's no money in that for direct mail. Like when I'm selling a piece of mail for 28 cents, what type of margins, you know, is the agency going to make on that? Nothing. So that's why 99% of the agencies, they don't understand direct mail. They don't understand the capabilities of it. They don't understand how strong it is and the numbers behind it, but they just can't make money on it. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because in our market, what I found over the last so many years is the agencies don't even want to manage print because there's not enough in it, and they're entitled to make something for what they do as everybody else, but there's not enough in it. Everybody's running around, and they're basically saying, go to the printer. Like, we'll set you up and go.
Listen, the thing is like, here's the thing. Like, I don't think they're experts. I mean, I'm sure there are good agencies. You know, like we met through Dave. You know, like I have a love Dave. Like, you know,
Dave Rosendale of Mindfire is different though.
Yeah, I mean,
like he doesn't. I mean, Dave, we're going to talk about you for a minute, but you're not on the show. But he's in a class by himself. From the day I met him, he is nonstop. I'm going to tell you this. You get email from him all the time, right? Like every week he's sending out email. Yeah. So the craziest thing is I get an email from him and I see Dave Rosendale and I start to read it and I get to the end of it and I go, shit, he got me again. I started reading it as if it was meant for me.
Yeah, right. Because
I know he doesn't email on his own. So every email of his is from the company for a reason. And I always get to the end and I just go, damn, he got me again.
It's funny. Like I met Dave and, you know, question, and I'd ask him and he just helped me out. There's no end game in it.
Oh my God. No, he's solid.
We weren't even friends. And, you know, like, I'm probably not even supposed to talk about this, but like I did some deal with like Postcard Mania, like back in another lifetime with, they have, you know, Direct Mail 2.0. And I guess, you know, Direct Mail 2.0 is Postcard Mania. And if I'm blurting out a secret that people shouldn't know, I mean, it wasn't hard to Google that the two buildings are right next to each other. They're owned by the same people, you know? And so I was sending lists.
By the way, there are no more secrets out there with the internet, right?
Exactly. So I'm sending lists to a competitor to, you know, and they were offering me all these things like, you know, we'll reach out, we'll get a social reach, we'll get a, you know, retarget. Stupid enough for me to think that I'll buy 1 billion credits and I'll give it to all my clients free. But knowing the price point that I was paying, none of that was possible, you know. So didn't work out. Nothing bad to say about them. I haven't done business with them in 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. And I only worked with them for a month because they were intolerable to work with.
Okay, question. What's your single biggest item that you sell?
So it's not one item. So basically, real quick, I know I get off subject kind of like you do, but I'm gonna say, listen, Warren, send me your last 2 years of customer list. Send me every person who you've done a job for in the last 2 years. I'm going to take that customer list. I'm going to clean it up for you. I'm going to dedupe it. I'm going to take anybody who's died, anybody who's moved away. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to immediately send you back an email saying, let's have a go-to meeting with one of my senior data analysts. We have like 6 data analysts at our company. We built the program on Alltracks. So it's a proprietary system. And I'm going to plot out every single client of yours for you on a 3D heat map go-to meeting. So you're seeing our screen. I'm going to show you where your clients are coming from. I'm going to show you where your clients aren't coming from. I'm then going to append data to every single one of your clients. Now this is free. Warren, you don't have to buy anything from me. I have nothing to tell you right now because I don't know enough about your business. If I were to offer you something right now and just, off the numbers, I would just be like every other sales guy. So I need to find out about your business before I offer you something. So I will then get you on that go-to meeting. We're going to show you every carrier route, in the areas of, and we're going to show you the level of saturation that you have clients in every carrier route. We're going to tell you how you're exactly like your typical client makes $82,000, and he lives in a home that's $250,000. And then we're going to show you a couple of ways that you can get that client. You can either do it in a radius of your location. You can do it in. You can try and go for the highest level of saturation. Or you could say to me, you know what, I like these 4 zip codes. Can you find me my client, my avatar inside those zip codes? Then after we do all that, then we show them that the map. And, first we're showing them charts. So we show them the map, and then we can come down to a street level or an area level, however we want. If there's a gap, we can show them that gap is a park, if we're dealing with a gym. And, it looks like, people make the mistake of putting in 5-mile radius when they should be doing 5-minute drive time, because I can't tell you how many times there's been a river or a highway that was in 5 miles. Like 5 miles to get you from Connecticut to Long Island, if you cross the water, So I'm going to show you all that. And then I'm going to, everything starts with existing clients. 75% of your business should always come from your existing clients. Too much pressure is being put on people to go out and get new clients every day. You don't need to buy pay-per-click clients every day. You just need to get.
No, but you do need to keep finding new clients, because even the blue ones, you never know when they fall off, right?
Well, of course, but at scale, what I'm saying? When you have like this, I asked for a 2-year customer list for a reason, because I'm eventually going to mail every month to those customers. But what's going to happen is the next month when I pull your 2-year, usually we do everything turnkey. So we get right into your service site, whatever it is. And so I'll update your anyone who is on who was a prospect who became a client, now goes to the existing client list, gets taken off the customer list. So we don't, we stay efficient. But you're going to find that 75% of your revenue is going to come from your existing clients.
Oh, for sure.
So when you have 4, 5, 6,000 clients, we mail those 4,000 or 5,000 clients every month. And you'll notice that the first 6 months with us, you're going to have a drop off, because there are people who are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 20, months that haven't used you. And we want them to drop off, we want to get rid of them. We want to have we just want to have a great list. And then now after 6 months, that list starts growing and growing, because nobody's leaving. We're only adding.
Okay, on that note, I'm going to cut you off. But before I cut you off, first I want to thank you. You seem to do things differently than other people. So congratulations to that. You seem to have your finger on the game. I guess just from all I see you and everywhere around and about, it's working for you. So keep it up. Anybody who's watching this show, if you call Andrew, mention me, just so he knows that you watched the show so we could track it. But do give him a call. He could probably help you out. And I'm judging from our conversation, he'd love to help you out because he's passionate about print and mailing and everything related to our industry as I am. To everybody watching, please check out my YouTube video. Please keep watching every Wednesday. Stay tuned for the Print Whisper info. Warren Werbitt for What They Think. I love print, and we'll see you back here.